And I just can't imagine talking to like you're not voting for this guy again, right? I mean, that's the mental acuity is just non-existent, and I'm baffled why somebody. It's like why I'm baffled, of the very few people that do approve of the job that Joe is doing here in mid-Missouri. Like, how do you think he's doing a good job? And I'm not even trying to argue with you or call you an idiot or call you an imbecile. I'm not going to call you stupid. I just seriously would love to get a cup of coffee, and I don't even drink coffee, but that's how important this is. Get a cup of coffee and just sit and go, okay, so explain to me. I'm trying to understand. Like, what is it that you think is going to make you vote for Joe again? I'm just curious. I don't even know if I'm mad. I'm just trying to learn about you, man, because I don't understand it.
They're also hoping he doesn't run.
Stephanie, it's interesting, and I guess it depends on who you talk to, because there's an article on The Hill today, and I heard Gordon Deal actually mention this, and this just came out this morning. It says that 59% of Democratic voters think President Biden should make another run for the Oval Office, up from 53% in August. So basically the theme of this article, and you could find it's on The Hill, says more Democrats are now saying they would back a 2024 run from the president. And I know with our audience, his numbers are not good. That's pretty clear from our listening audience. But the fact is, in a hypothetical matchup, he and former President Trump are still very close. It seems to me it'd be very close.
That's where I think it's coming from. I don't think it shows any support for Biden. I think the Democrats are freaking out that Trump might run again, and they would vote for anybody who they think could beat Trump. And since Biden's done that, I think that's what you're seeing. I think it's more of an anti-Trump swing than anything pro-Biden.
By the way, New York Times writes, political winds are now blowing in GOP's favor. We've been talking about this following the Dobbs decision earlier this year and how that changed. And you saw it in the pollings. You saw it in the number of Democrats that were registering to vote. But now the New York Times is saying, hey, those bumps in the polls may have been just a blip. Headline of the article, this is New York Times, and if you're new to talk radio or not familiar, New York Times, yeah, it's based in New York, but it has a lot of political clout nationwide.
Sure.
And I don't know why. Are political winds blowing in Republicans' favor again? And is what he's done, instead of looking at polls, he did really something really interesting, went by Google searches. Google searches for the economy, that's number one. It's done away. So before, people were Googling January 6th committee hearings. Abortion was huge for a while. These are Google searches. Economy, now the number one Google search. Number two, when it comes to politics, behind the economy, illegal immigration. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Marsh, you ready for more? We're not even done with the president or the vice philosophizer, Kamala Harris. You ready for more, buddy? Billy Long here on the show last week. What did he say in the House? Did he say he expected a pickup of 40 seats? He said three different things in a span of 10 seconds. I don't think it's going to be a red wave. I think we're going to win a few seats. I think we're going to overtake. I think we're going to take 40 seats in the House. And that was in 10 seconds. Am I exaggerating?
You're exactly
right.
That's
what he said.
And I thought it even at one point said 45. Yeah. So there were four different numbers.
You can go back and hear that interview for yourself. It's on our websites, 939theeagle.com and KWOS.com. I think it was last Thursday the congressman was here, 6 or 7 o'clock hour. Go to the website. And then while you're there, find the locations where you can get your tickets for the Tiger Tailgate. We are doing it Saturday. Number one, Georgia in town. Big financial boost for mid-Missouri. Hotel rooms are booked. All the money coming in. But we're doing the Tiger Tailgate a couple of hours before kickoff. This is brought to you by Culligan of Mid-Missouri. Buffalo Wild Wings, Bud Light, High Noon, Hard Seltzers. You can go to places like in Jefferson City. You can go to Carrie's Hallmark Shop, Vaughn's Pools and Spas in Columbia. Boone Hospital Wound Healing Center and other locations. See in New Bloomfield and Holt Summit. You go to Speedy Bees. All right. As John Marsh requested, here's more gas from the people that are running the country. Our vice philosophizer, Kamala Harris, yesterday. And Stephanie's been following in the daily D.C. rundown for several days now. They've done a really good job. Here's what Kamala is going to go and do, and she's going to say this. She's going to take a page out of Trump's playbook and go to the DMZ and do some stuff there, because all the good ideas that have come out of the White House have been from the previous administration, really. She's in the DMZ, and she says, and I cannot find the audio. I want you to be able to hear it. I've tried. I cannot find it anywhere. But Kamala Harris said the United States has a strong alliance with the Republic of North Korea.
What?
Crazy. Again, they go out onto a worldwide stage, and it's not, and listen, so we talk about the economy. We talk about how illegal immigration is affecting people nationwide, and it affects us here in mid-Missouri. That is a fact. But then these things, how we look on a worldwide stage, it affects us. Everything affects us. All right. Last month, this is August 3rd, 2022.
Stunning and tragic breaking news out of Elkhart County today involving the death of U.S. Congresswoman Jackie Walorski and two of her staffers who were killed in a crash earlier this afternoon in Elkhart County.
That was last month. Jackie Walorski, Congresswoman from the state of Indiana, dying in a car accident. And then this is September 28th, 2022.
Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here to help make this a reality.
Oh, God. So you're at this event. Everybody in the world knows when you have somebody who is a U.S. representative, and they go, hell, we covered the story here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri. Everybody, hey, Congresswoman, she died in a car crash with two young legislative assistants with her. And Joe Biden, where's Jackie? Where's Jackie?
Yeah.
And that's not, I mean, remember what he was in 2008, he was here in Missouri. And he committed this. So this is, what are we talking, 14 years ago. And so this you could maybe almost excuse.
Chuck Graham, state senator's here. Chuck, stand up, Chuck. Let him see you. Oh, God love you. What am I talking about?
What happened there, Marsh? Stand up. Did that? Stand up. Go. Come on. Stand up. Chuck's in the wheel. I can't. A wheelchair. Something like that. Maybe you could say, okay, you didn't get the notes, whatever, but Joe, just so you know, our longtime elected servant, Chuck, he's in a wheelchair. He can't stand up at your beck and call. That you can maybe almost understand. But how the heck do you call for a dead person in the room?
That gets back to, and again, without knowing all the details, the one on Chuck Graham, there were a lot of dignitaries. I think context is important. There were a lot of other dignitaries. Clearly, I don't think he had any idea who Chuck Graham was. I mean, the name was on a piece of paper, and he probably told him to stand, so I totally agree with you. On the congresswoman who passed away, yes, I would think he would know that, but his staff, that is their responsibility, too, to brief him whenever he's going out to the state of California. He needs to know, and normally they tell him, here is who's in the room, and you recognize Congressman such and such, whether it's Blaine Luetkemeyer, and that is briefed ahead of time. You never want to ask, where are they at a microphone like that? So there's something very poor about the organization on that. I almost think that sounds like a staff issue to me.
Well,
but still, the staff's got to brief. I mean, that almost looked like he hadn't been informed at all, but still, I would think he would have known that she had passed.
Didn't you stand at a microphone and ask, where are you, about somebody?
Oh, yeah.
You
That's right.
surely did. Sometimes you want to do that if you're trying to make a point, right, Brandon?
Yeah, somebody was emceeing the Boone County Lincoln Days, and all of the U.S. Senate candidates from the state of Missouri were, hey, remember this? Almost. And so it was my job to get up and call for it, because you didn't know they don't respond. You just call on the names that are on the list. And so I said, Eric Greitens. Eric, And I called for him 3 times. And like half the room, correct me if I'm wrong, half the room laughed and half the room was like, come on, man. Because obviously Eric Greitens wasn't there. 874-9390, 874-9390. Kevin, welcome into the show. What is on your mind this morning?
Well, I think Joe Biden's going to be asking his staff to find him some Coolio tickets.
Oh, God.
Too soon, Kevin.
Thank you. Coolio, man.
I'm really sad about this one. I don't know why.
Because John, you remember maybe a little bit back in the heyday, was it 95? The movie came out. All of a sudden, I forget the name of the movie, but a white school teacher, Kim Basinger, goes into a black neighborhood and is able to speak to these kids. And Coolio had this song, but it was one of those rare instances, especially so this is pre-Eminem and all those people like that for. Gangster's Paradise was the name of the song, and it was in that movie. And you had white suburban kids, a lot of them for the first time ever, listening to a black rap artist. And that's why that song was so significant. He died age of 59, collapsed in somebody's bathroom. Matter of fact, he won a Grammy. But that's why his influence on the rap world and what in getting into the suburban neighborhoods. He's dead at the age of 59. I don't think any specific word yet on exactly what happened. This is Wake Up Mid-Missouri. John Marsh, producer Hannah, Stephanie Bell, Brian Houseworth. I am Branden Rathert. Coming up, Daily DC Rundown 5 minutes from now. What's underneath the circus tent this morning?
So beyond getting vaccinated,
To the companies running gas stations and setting those prices at the pump, bring down the prices you're charging at the pump to reflect the cost you pay for the product. Do it now.
Do it now. He's like that local, is it that flooring guy? Call now. That's Joe Biden, and he's telling people, hey, don't use the hurricane as an excuse to jack up prices on gasoline, because that's my job. I jack up the prices of gasoline, and don't use this hurricane for that reason, because I'm using the hurricane to encourage people to get vaccinated. My goodness, that's getting us into today's Daily DC Rundown with Stephanie Bell.
And I think it's just ridiculous that he's constantly pointing his finger at the industry and saying, oh, yeah, well, you're going to price gouge because, don't use the hurricane. And I'm just thinking, okay, but you just told everyone to evacuate, so everyone needs gasoline to get the heck out of Florida. So, isn't this a supply and demand thing? Isn't there a reason why, prices might be a little bit higher in Florida right now? I think so. Anyway, I don't like the government telling businesses what to do,
Nope.
So it's frustrating. We're also sending money to Ukraine. We knew this, but we're funding 18 more advanced rocket systems. Meanwhile, Russia is trying to tell us that Ukraine is voting to get voluntarily annexed into Russia, I think. People aren't really having that, but these systems are very advanced, and they're more about long-term defense for Ukraine. So interesting. Lots of money going to Ukraine. Also, Mitch McConnell yesterday was saying, hey, I really think we have a 50-50 shot of getting the chamber back. And that was surprising for folks because he has really been hedging. And, I like that, though. I mean, don't go out overconfident. If you set your expectations really low and then you reach it, then you look like the winner, right? But he has been very, kind of not optimistic. Yesterday he was optimistic, and people were like, oh, hey, maybe we got something here.
And even saying 50-50, it's not going too far out of. He's saying we might.
Yeah. But that's a change from where he's been. He
might
did
not.
say this, and I think this might be kind of a dig at Trump. He said Senate races are just different. They're statewide. Candidate quality has a lot to do with the outcome, and that's what folks are saying is in the primary, we elected some folks that are really conservative, but maybe not the best candidate quality, and that's when you saw the dip on the red wave. A lot of it, people were saying was for candidate quality, and so I think that's a subtle dig at Trump candidates there for
Or
Mitch
Sarah
McConnell.
Palin.
Right? Interesting. The Supreme Court goes back to it starts its new term. It'll be the first time people are allowed back in the courtroom, but they're going to continue doing live streaming the audio of the arguments, which started during the coronavirus, but I think is really helpful.
So if you've ever had a chance to do it, it's fascinating and boring at the same time.
No, it's fascinating.
Fascinating and boring at the same time. Coming up, what's a twindemic? And why should we be concerned here in mid-Missouri, or why local news wants you to be concerned? We're going to do that 5 minutes from now here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri.
bunch of letters. I'd even read mail from a cow.
All right, welcome into the Wake Up Mid-Missouri mailbag. You know how much mail we get here at the radio station, Marsh? How much do you have on your desk over there? None? Good. I like when we do the mail. I like when we open up the mailbag and there's no complaint letters. We'll call that. I like when the mailbag is empty. That means no complaints. No, nothing. Mostly we do get text. You can always text us here on the show in the 573 area code, 573-874-9390, 874-9390. We get emails from time to time. I think the last honest-to-goodness letter we got, it was like 3 years ago, and it was a letter from PETA because we were making fun of this pig that they put on a bungee jump in a village in China. And Brad Trinaga, who'd, living out his lifelong dream, working with Mizzou Sports now. He was part of Wake Up Mid-Missouri. And Brad, he's a news guy. Brad was getting in on the fun. And this poor pig we were talking about, we envisioned that it had a little pinwheel and the pig was on the bungee going, wee, wee. And we got a letter from PETA. Now, the thing that was remarkable is PETA didn't mention that they were upset that immediately after they put the pig on the bungee jump, the villagers slaughtered the pig and ate it. And PETA wasn't upset. And I would like to think, but man, the last moments of that little pig's time on Earth, he was bungee jumping and holding a pinwheel in his little piggy claws.
So cute.
I imagine. So that was the last time we got an honest-to-goodness letter. But we do have a couple of things on the texter.
I mean, the favorite letters we get /texts are the fact checks, and you've already been fact checked this morning.
Want to thank Allison. I know, it's 6:38. Fact checked already. Something that we'd already said earlier here on the show. So we need to take a statement I said and run it through our Ministry of Truth here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri, talking about how the rapper Coolio died and his impression upon the music world. He leaves a big imprint because in 95, the movie was Dangerous Minds, and I said it starred Kim Basinger. Allison is correcting me.
She's saying it was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. She's the middle-aged, middle-class white woman, goes into a black school, and she's able to speak to the kids, and she's like the student whisperer. So thank you for the fact check. The movie was Dangerous Minds, but Coolio, he really did. His place in music history is pretty important because prior to 95, kids in white suburbia did not listen to rap music, and Coolio kind of said, hey, here's a sample. It's good. And people loved it. Anything else? Oh, so we were talking about Joe Biden and a couple of the things that he did yesterday. Number one, he tried introducing a dead lawmaker. Wanted to acknowledge her. She died only a month ago in a car crash. And then this.
Let me be clear. If you're in a state where hurricanes often strike, like Florida or the Gulf Coast or into Texas, a vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now.
Get vaccinated. That's the best thing you can do when fleeing a Category 5 hurricane that's dumping 30 inches of rain and winds over 150 miles an hour. First thing you can do is get vaccinated. I don't know what he meant. I don't think he probably knew what he meant. And there's a bunch... bloodborne, but first you do all that, and then the only thing he could have said that would have made that even better, but before you flee the dangerous hurricane, get a vaccination first. But first, take a selfie of you getting the vaccination. It's the only thing he could have said to make it worse. And then, and I think about the number of people here in mid-Missouri that want to vote for this guy. As for somebody that died just over a month ago, died last month, Congresswoman from Indiana, Jackie Walorski.
Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
Yeah, she's not here, Joe. I don't know how to tell you, man.
That's rough.
She won't be here. And so one of our texts is somebody is Mike text 874-9390. Did you cover the White House explanation of it? So
is that what we're going to call it? Was it an explanation?
Man. And then they go to Corinne Jean-Pierre, hey, clean up this latest mess, and she doesn't help any. She's being asked, like, hey, why did Joe introduce a congresswoman that died just over a month ago?
I mean, I think many people can speak to sometimes when you have someone top of mind, they're a top of mind, exactly that. And it is also, if you put it into the context, it's not like it happened outside of context, right?
Oh, there's context. It's that C word again, gets you every time. The context. The context is she died in a story that made national news headlines. I don't know what more context you need there. So it was top of mind, and she didn't. Yeah. But I would think in this situation, like, I live here in mid-Missouri. I don't even live in Indiana, but I know Jackie Walorski is dead. I just know that. When you're in the world of politics, like Joe is, you just know, hey, this person is dead. It's one of the guys at the press conference yesterday. He told, because Corinne Jean-Pierre said, well, top of mind. He's like, well, I've got John Lennon top of mind, but I know he's dead. I didn't forget that he's dead. And she went all in on this more than once.
I just explained she was on top of mind. She was at top of mind. She was on his mind. She was of top of mind. Sometimes when you have someone top of mind, they're a top of mind, exactly that.
Top of mind. How many times can we use the phrase top of mind on the show this morning?
But the fact that she's passed away should be top of mind.
It's that simple. Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Mid-Missouri on 93.9 The Eagle and News Radio 104.5 KWOS. Stephanie Bell sits to my left.
Good morning.
There is producer Hannah.
Hello.
There's John Marsh. Brian Houseworth is here. Can Brian hear us right now? He's out running Track It Down News. Can we say this here before we move on? Because what's got top of mind awareness for me, shh, don't mention it yet. All right.
Do it.
So, and he doesn't know that we know. I don't think he knows that we know. You know how much that sucks whenever somebody's, so Brian Houseworth is having a birthday today. And nobody has said anything yet. All right. Nobody said anything to him. You know how hard that is? Because you want a lovely guy. Brian Houseworth, by the way, lovely human being. Mm-hmm. He really is. And so that's like the first thing you want to say, happy birthday, bud, and all this. But we don't, because we've got some highlights from Brian Houseworth from over the, yeah, that's the right reaction, Marsh. All right, so that's everybody
so
here.
When are we going to do that?
I don't know, because coming up.
It's not on the whiteboard.
I know. Here's my whiteboard, some of the things coming up on the show. Jefferson City, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, you'll see there it's 6:50. What has Jefferson City Democrats triggered? They got triggered yesterday. Great story in the Jefferson City News Tribune about this. I wasn't beating. You know, that sounds like kind of that mindset. I was just asking him factual-based questions and presenting him with facts, and he got all triggered. We have a friend in a local school district who gets upset whenever I bring up facts to her. She's, stop the attacks, Branden. I'm like, facts are not attacks. Facts are facts. That could be it. Then Columbia Police Chief Geoff Jones got some FBI training. What does that mean for us here in the community? And here's the one I'm really excited about, and I might be one of, I think last we checked, there's 8 million residents in Missouri? 6 million?
6 million.
6 million residents in Missouri. I exaggerate sizes of things, apparently. 6 million residents in the state the fish was that big.
Oh, no.
That big. All right, let's move forward before this show devolves into a Feel Good Friday. Why is it always the youngest person on the show, producer Hannah?
You
and
said it.
The most morally situated guy I know, and John Marsh. It's you two that always. Stephanie, we got to crack down on these.
Straight face over here.
Wayne Wallingford. So last we checked, there's only like 3,000 people that have filed for the gas tax receipt thing, which I think is interesting because whenever the gas tax passed, 2.5 cents, went into effect. Remember, the people call, I can't believe this BS, more taxes and blah. And it's for MoDOT to fix roads like repaving, resurfacing on 63. I think it's all the way done almost. They're still working on parts of it this morning, but resurfacing was done. But all these people are calling, I can't, that's horrible. Well, you can get a refund on that. but apparently not many people are doing it. Last we checked, 3,735. Missouri Department of Revenue's Wayne Wallingford is going to be joining us. John Marsh and I have had difficulties trying to submit this electronically, so I finally had to send a hard copy. I also sent them an email. It says, or send this to the email. No response on the email. 2 months ago, Wayne Wallingford said it was incredibly easy, and we heaped praise on him. It's not that easy. Marsh, you've had some issues. Yeah. Yeah. And I did. I mailed it in. But we had text here, too. People say, yeah, I can't figure this thing out online. So he's going to be joining us coming up. He is here at 7:35. Maybe he can give you some pro tips on how to circumvent this stuff, or at least make it a little bit easier. By the way, before we move forward, top of mind awareness, yesterday, Jefferson City tax cut bill, progress there, Marsh? That's a very long special session. I think, what do we pay, $135 a day per diem? Coming up 5
We definitely are pretty much out of rooms and sold out here in Columbia on Saturday night. As soon as we hear about 1 or 2 rooms coming open, they're pretty much immediately snatched up.
That's Megan McConaughey from the Columbia Convention and Visitors Bureau chatting with Channel 8 KOMU. There's going to be a jam-packed weekend for Mid-Missouri, expecting 30,000 additional people coming into Mid-Missouri. Hotels are booked. Probably find some in there's going to be a hotel one day in Ashland.
Yes.
Like Nick Parks, who's got the Lakeside Ashland project going.
Well, we don't want to start any rumors. He has talked about wanting to put a hotel on that property. I don't know that there is any, specific plans for that right now, but he's got a lot of plans for that.
And
property.
this guy, by the way, Nick Parks, he's on the ball because he's thinking about the future of Mid-Missouri. Okay, we're bringing people into town for all these great events, but what do they do when they're here? You go to the Grand Cafe, you go bowling, then what do you do? And that's why he's building some of these things, but these stay-and-play kind of things, which is huge, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, Ashland would be a great place to have a hotel because then, you could get down to Jeff City to see, like, the state capitol and those kinds of things, and you could, still do everything Columbia has to offer. You're still close to the airport. It's a perfect place for a hotel.
By the way, some 30,000 Georgia fans expected here in Mid-Missouri. You should join us at our Tiger Tailgate. Easiest thing to do, get onto our websites, 939theeagle.com and kwos.com. We feed you, give you drinks, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Culligan of Mid-Missouri, Bud Light, High Noon Hard Seltzers. So in Jefferson City, you can go to Big Whiskeys or Speedy B's. You can also hit up Speedy B's in places like St. Thomas, places like that. In Columbia, you go to Club Car Wash, specifically their new mall location. Go there, get free passes, show up. I think 4 o'clock we'll be kicking off the tailgate. You going to the game Saturday, Marsh? Number 1 team in the country in town. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to be I know. I'm trying to be a Chamber of Commerce guy here.
I hope we win.
Team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Last I heard, still questionable. So apparently Democrats in Jefferson City, they're triggered. And it's something, and it's funny because it's something the Governor Mike Parson, is trying to do to highlight something. Say, hey, this is a good thing. We need to be thinking about this during the month of September, which is like Hunger Awareness Month. So the governor in the Capitol, they've got orange lights. You probably have seen this. It's lit up in orange. I thought it was, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that's cool, Halloween. Okay.
Are you serious?
It does. Yeah, I thought it was Halloween.
The governor typically chooses better causes than Halloween.
Hey, I'm all for Halloween, man. I'm behind this 100%. Yeah. But it's to highlight like hunger awareness, and some Democrats got all bent out of shape because we're not throwing enough government money. We're not taking enough of your tax dollars and helping. When there's plenty of charitable organizations, because I despise, I think most smart people do. Sure, you got to listen. There's some things you have to do to help, but when you keep taking money out of my wallet and giving it to people, not all, in a lot of cases, they have made bad life decisions, and now I got to support them, and that's what some of these Jefferson City Democrats want to do. I think Crystal Quaid, she was upset about it. She said, light shows are great, but taking care of our kids is more important. It's Crystal Quaid, Democrat from Springfield. You're right, but it's not my job. You're not using my taxpayer dollars to do it. There's plenty of private organizations and charitable organizations out there.
And I just Googled, but the governor and the first lady do host their fall festival at the mansion. That's coming up on October 29th. That's always a good thing for families and kids. And they have all the state departments participate. Sometimes there's a petting zoo. They've got people there giving away free books. I love that event.
It's pretty. It's a nice event, good family event, and they're doing it at the end of October. And that's at the governor's. They do that at the Capitol because last year was at the governor's mansion.
It's at the mansion. Yeah. But so it wouldn't be out of the ordinary that he could light the Capitol up orange and have his Halloween party.
Thank you, staff. And so how is it that people like Crystal Quaid and these other Democrats, how can they be so angry and triggered by these orange lights? My goodness. I
bet if we lit the Capitol up like a rainbow, they would not be very mad, right? I mean, it's been lit up for liberal-ish causes before, and there was no complaining, I don't think.
I'm nominating you for Winner of the Week tomorrow. I'm picking you as a Winner of the Week for that comment. We do it every Feel Good Friday, 8:35. Coming up 7:10. The police chief of Columbia just got back from some FBI training. What does that mean for the folks in the city of Columbia? We find out coming up at 7:10.
We're continuing to deal with response time difficulties as we have staffing problems, and we're facing issues of prioritization.
Christian Tabak with the Columbia Police Department talking about, hey, we need some officers. We need some people in the line of duty in the city of Columbia. We brought in Chief of Police for the city of Columbia, Geoff Jones. I want to start here, though, just fresh off some FBI training.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of training? What's that about? What do you do?
Well, some of the other department directors are teasing me saying it's FBI camp. But
space camp, church camp.
I always wanted to go to space camp, and it never happened for me.
FBI camp.
And
did your mom go and she drop you off there at the front of camp?
She would have.
And you had
You've met my mom. She would have.
Mom.
Yeah.
She's a neat gal, by the way. So what does this mean? FBI training. What does that mean for the people here in mid-Missouri? So you had FBI training. What does that mean exactly?
So I'll just kind of explain what it is, and then what the experience was like, and I think it'll give you an idea what it brings to us. And it's a command college for people who are or want to be in upper management or police chiefs and law enforcement organizations. The FBI hosts 3 or 4 classes a year. There's about 230 people in my class, and it's kind of like a college setting. You're going to classes for 10 weeks in forensics, communications, current issues, leadership classes, and you're in the room with police executives from all over the country, actually all over the world. There were 21 other countries present. So we get to talk about issues, where we're at, where other people have been. You don't feel alone because everybody is going through similar issues and trying to work through those issues. And there were just some good ideas. Yeah. None of which I'm ready to share today.
Which ideas are those that you're not ready to share with us, Chief?
Right.
Just thought I would check. Did you find this and chatting with people? It's one of those opportunities where you get together with folks from all across the country, various law enforcement agencies, and when we talk about staffing shortages, what's some of the biggest culprits? Why is this happening?
Well,
is it hatred for police?
I think the sentiment around policing and the generalization of those feelings toward police when bad stuff happens, because bad stuff happens, and we've seen it across the country. I think that I know that is part of what we face here. I have officers tell me that they leave because they don't feel like their work is valued, and they're going out and trying to keep people safe, and they don't feel like people recognize that, and they're making generalizations about them that aren't true to them.
Well, and then when you have a whole body of politicians saying, defund the police, they're evil. This is the end result, part of the end result of insane claims like that. It's part of what happens. It's hard to recruit people in law enforcement. You guys even had a recruitment, like a job fair Saturday.
We did, and I do want to talk about funding, and I will tell you I'm very thankful for the council and the city manager recognizing the needs of the police department and actually adding money to our budget to get us some of the things that we need. Obviously, technology has been an issue with us. You've heard me talk about problems with our records management system and data mining. That's an expensive process, and they funded that.
Welcome to the show. This is Wake Up Mid-Missouri. I'm Branden Rathert, joined by Stephanie Bell, Brian Houseworth, producer Hannah, and Mr. John Marsh, too.
Yeah, Chief, thank you so much. I wonder if I could follow up on Brandon's point there about the issue of funding, because we had listeners that actually called into the shows and said that DeCarlin Seawood was going to defund the police. They said that. I think they based that because maybe I'm not sure. There was zero evidence coming in he was going to do that. You've said it best. Just the opposite has happened. 75% of the general fund, and I hope people listen to this, 75% of the general fund under Mr. Seawood's budget is for public safety, and he actually proposed this, and he got it, a new crime scene investigator, that records management, and also 3 new airport officers. So I know while you're 21 officers short, that funding has helped. If you could talk about the importance of those records to elaborate, and also the 3 airport officers. We have not heard you guys talk about that.
Right. So I've committed to try to improve communication, transparency, and to do that, you have to have people working on the back end that are records clerks and administrative assistants, and those are the people who keep those records moving, give us access to those records, mine those records from different systems.
Mm-hmm.
So having the ability to do that is very important. Having crime scene investigators, there's a reason why our homicides are a third of what they were in 2019, and our clearance rates are 3 times what they were for homicide. We have outstanding crime scene investigators, and we have outstanding cops and detectives who are working those cases. But we have to make sure that they are not overworked and under-resourced. And so that's what we did in this budget.
All right. Chief Geoff Jones, Columbia Police Chief, joining us here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri this morning, 874-9390. Tom, you're on with the Chief. What can we do for you?
Well, first of all, Chief, thank you for the hard work you do for the great city of Columbia. Secondly, what could you advise some of us who do support the police? I'm always validating them. Sometimes I buy their lunch when they don't know it, and I just tell them so much how thankful I am for their service. And, of course, when I ran for city council, it was my desire to increase the budget to help our police department. So what else can we do?
I think that you need to just share your opinions, whether you agree with me on an issue or not. I think it's important that you share your opinions with the decision makers for the city.
How about this, Tom? How about you join the Citizens Police Review Board when and if they get off suspension?
Well, put me on the list.
Hey, Tom, thank you. Sorry, I didn't put you on the spot, Chief, did I? Do you have any thoughts on? Well, here's my thing with the Columbia Police Citizens Review Board is, number one, it's supposed to be a conduit between, and if you don't want to answer this stuff, I'm not trying to catch you off guard. You can just say, Branden.
Yeah, you never try to catch me off guard.
You can just say, Branden, move on, and I will. But the whole thing with the Police Review Board, and I know the CPOA, they were on board with this back in 2008, 2009 when it came together. And it's a conduit between the public and policing. And then recently, they're out to get the cops, and it's disgusting. I've seen some of what they've done. We've highlighted some of the audio from the meetings from the former board president, and the way she's just out to get the cops. You want to comment on that, or you want to move on to the next thing?
What I will say is that I think and just like CPOA, I think it's important to have people involved in the community that have some type of oversight and can look at what the police do, and that we're transparent in what we do. As a police chief, when I make disciplinary decisions, I'm not going to sit here and claim that I don't miss things sometimes. Mm-hmm. I really do try to hold people accountable and make sure that I address issues through training, through policy, and through discipline when it's needed. This isn't about, for me, it's not just about being accountable to the public, but I also have to have due process for employees and make sure that I'm being a good boss and a good employer. So I think that the council is looking to improve that process or get it on track. I don't think that the Citizens Police Review Board is a bad thing. Mm-hmm. And
it's the people on it currently, or some of them, and all the good ones left. That's my take. That's not the Chief's take.
It's not my take. And here's what I think. I think that we have to be focused on what the mission of the CPRB is. I don't know how I got people think that I don't like the CPRB, and that's not the case at all. I think it's important that we have some type of oversight and someone who can review what I do.
Oversight, you've always been about accountability, and you're in and I think for any police chief or when it comes to law enforcement, because in effect you're answering to your employees are answering to you, but you're also answering to the community. So trying to keep everybody while doing the right thing so that you can sleep at night. I know that can be a challenge sometimes. All right, Chief of Police in Columbia, Geoff Jones, joining us on the show.
Absolutely. I think that policing needs to get back to its foundation, which is interacting with the community to solve problems. If you look at policing, especially in England when it was formed, there were citizens that took on the duty of police officer, and they interacted with each other to see what those issues are, and they decided how they would be policed. And I think that we need to get back to our roots. And Eric Wilde is a good guy, and I think that he's going to do an amazing job, by the way.
I want to talk more about this FBI training. You said you were with folks from, all over the country and the world. And we talked a little bit, you said, staffing shortages obviously is top of mind, and funding, I'm sure, but, maybe not what was going on in the training. But as you're casually interacting with folks in the industry, what else were people talking about? I mean, are there discussions about illegal immigration, about fentanyl, about drugs? I mean, what are the main issues that folks in police are talking about?
Well, we talked about, we don't really get into politics. Everybody has their own politics, and every time I come onto the show, Branden tries to drag me into his.
No,
but just kidding, kind of. But we didn't approach it from that angle. It was, what are you facing right now? What are the obstacles that you have to getting, where you want to be as a police agency? And a lot of that is staffing. A lot of that is funding. Some people are under consent decrees. Some people have had these major incidents in their town committed by a police officer, and they're trying to make sure that their officers are valued, and they're making sure that their officers don't think that behavior was okay. They never thought it was okay to begin with. I won't say which cities, but they're dealing with those things and trying to weed out the bad, keep the good. Make sure that they're funded, make sure that they're resourced, and make sure that everybody's safe. And they're to try to specify certain issues. I mean, 10 weeks of I'm going through this right now. Yeah. There was a lot of talk, things that I hadn't considered that I feel like I'm prepared for if they come up here. But it was a valuable experience.
All right. Chief Geoff Jones, Chief of Police in Columbia, you have a job to do, and I respect that you do that, and I also have a job to do. And that is to make you uncomfortable and get you off guard. No, that's not what I'm trying to do here. We enjoy a great relationship. As a matter of fact, you've hung out with my dad before, and when I was a kid, my dad would go and drop me off at the mall, and he'd pick me up. Dad, pick me up down in the corner. You've brought in a couple of your daughters into the studios this morning. Great to have some guests in the Wake Up Mid-Missouri studios. Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
When you drop your daughters off, do you ever do it in uniform just to really?
I used to.
Does he? Yeah. Can you shout that out?
He picked me up yesterday in uniform.
Really? Does that
took me to a doctor's appointment in uniform?
Does that embarrass you?
Nah, I don't really mind it.
Good. Your dad's a police chief. That's pretty awesome. So they just say, "Come on, Dad." Come on, man.
And Caroline is from Poland, and she doesn't know that she should be embarrassed by me yet. So
I love that.
She's learning.
Nice meeting you. Chief Geoff Jones, as always, anything seriously that we can do for you, we try to be a conduit between the police department and the public, and I like to think we try to do it better than other people. Seriously, anything that we can do to be of service, let us know.
Same, and we'll be in touch.
All right, anything else that you want to add before we let you go?
No, I don't know if... I'm sure people were paying attention when I was gone. We had a homicide and a shooting. Mm-hmm. Both of those were investigated by patrol and the investigative division. They were able to canvass and get video in both of those, and they had suspects within hours.
All right. And then car break-ins. I know there's been electronic reader boards up out on Grindstone, reminding folks to lock their cars at the NKT trail on Forum across from Wilson's Gym. And a young lady came down, and she had an SUV. Somebody busted in the back window, wanted to know if I'd seen anything. So it happens. Chief Geoff Jones, thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up 7:25-ish, we are...
McDonald's announced yesterday that they're doing something that's bringing back a lot of nostalgia for folks.
Good morning, 7:25-ish, which means it's...
Ooh, it's 7:27.
I'm regressing. I'm like...
Old habits die hard, man.
What was the mouse's name in the book Flowers for Algernon? I guess it would have been Algernon, actually. Never mind. I'm like, God, there's another...
What
that was
night
a Biden level gaffe.
Another Biden level, man.
What night of the week is Saturday Night Live on?
Did you hear when Joe Biden did the interview on 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago? He asked, now, how long is this show, Scott? Flowers for Algernon, where the mouse or the dude makes progress, and then he regresses. So I've been on time with What's Hot with Hannah for 3 days, and now I'm not today. What is hot with Hannah?
McDonald's announced yesterday that they are rolling out some special promotional item that has a lot of adults really excited. They're bringing back Happy Meals, but they're doing it with a twist. It's Happy Meals for adults, and it comes with adult toys. So they
adult toys. Wait a minute.
Wait. By the way, that was Stephanie applauding. That wasn't me. Okay. In case you heard that.
Hang on. No, not.
Words matter, Hannah.
They are figurines of the old school characters, and they've partnered with like a streetwear brand, and so they've included a new character that is the logo for the streetwear brand. You can order the Happy Meal with 10-piece McNugget or a Big Mac, and I have posted pictures of the toys on the Wake Up Facebook page.
That's good to clarify. If you need clarification on the adult toys, Marsh, you can see those, right? Look at this. We're holding this up. That's just...
Oh, those were so fun.
Also, I think I offended Branden in the break. I asked if Happy Meals were around when he was a kid, and he was like, well, yeah, duh. But I just looked it up, and they were released in 1979.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I was 8. I remember that. So, wait, are you saying, so did they stop the Happy Meals for a while and they're just now bringing them back?
No, these are specifically for adults.
With the adult toys. There. Coming up 5 minutes.
Dang it.
How many folks are trying to get back some money on that whole gas tax thing? Wayne Wallingford, Director of Missouri Department of Revenue, has some numbers coming up like 5 minutes from now here on the show. I look really, really good today. We've been getting a lot of comments like, man, Branden looks awesome. And I don't ever get that. Everybody
What an
says,
improvement.
yeah, Mr. Houseworth looks good. The newly engaged Hannah, the producer, looks excellent. Stephanie is hot. We get that all the time. But today, I'm getting a lot of compliments.
It's awesome.
You are.
I look good. Have you seen this, Houseworth? That's why it looks so good. That's why you should go to our YouTube channel.
Almost looks like you're in the witness protection program.
One of those great moments from Brian Houseworth. We're celebrating his birthday today. Too bad he's not here for it. He's running around. He's handling some news stuff. Brian Houseworth having a birthday today. So we've compiled what we've wanted to do throughout the show this morning is drop some of these great Brian Houseworth moments. But he's been incredibly busy with news this morning, so he's dipping in and out. Marsh, if you see him there in the break room, wish him a happy birthday, all right? 51, I think he is. There's Stephanie Bell.
Good morning.
Who's not 51. Producer Hannah is there.
Good morning.
My name is Branden Rathert. And I'm wondering, and Hannah is accurate here. So I've been trying. We had Wayne Wallingford, director of the Missouri Department of Revenue, on a couple months ago because I've been on this gas tax thing. I'm getting that extra 2.5 cents back, getting it back. You know, all that resurfacing they've done out there on 63 between Jeff City and Columbia. Yeah, I'm not paying for that. I'm getting my money back. But the process, there was from the get-go, number one, you're increasing taxes. And just so you know, Wayne Wallingford had nothing to do with that. He's just he's got to make it function. And then it was, you're going to have to send in all your receipts and put VIN numbers and all that stuff on the receipt. And then they came up with an easier way. And we bring Wayne Wallingford onto the show now. Welcome in. Glad you could be here. But, man, I tried doing the online thing. And Marcia, now Hannah's right. I'm 51, Wayne. I am not technically savvy.
You are not. No, I can't confirm.
That's funny.
So I told Hannah, I'm like, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Marsh, what was your experience in trying to submit the electronic forms for your gas tax receipt refund? Yeah. So I eventually had to mail it in. And I emailed. There's a thing at the bottom of the form, or you can just email it instead of submitting it. And I emailed it, and I didn't get a response back to say, like, not even like a boilerplate response, like, "Hey, we've received this," because you're talking about you owe me money and there's taxes involved. I would think at the very least, Mr. Wallingford, to get some kind of notice. So I just got to tell you, man, it's not been easy, dude.
Okay, well, we'll work on that because we want to make it very easy for you. In fact, interesting, you said you finally, turned it in a different way than electronically. Ironically, the majority of claims, 96%, have been received in paper format. And we'll work on getting something back so you know it's received, because we've been getting a lot of duplicate claims. In fact, about 250 where people are submitting their claim multiple times, mailing a paper copy, emailing one. And so we received about 250 of those. So it looks like there's a problem, and we're going to correct it.
Good. And that's part of because we have been getting other things, and that's the nature of this, because I'm sure all your buddies there and everything are like, oh, great job, Wayne. And you guys have done a great job. And this, again, you did not increase the taxes. I want to be very clear. You just have to make it work.
Yeah.
But to be able to say, here's the real life experiences from some folks that's happening.
I think we need to fact check you. Earlier this week, didn't you say what was your refund?
$15.
But now it would be $14.50 because did you have to pay for a stamp to mail it in?
Yep.
Darn it.
But Wayne,
the average refund is just over $22, so you're just shy of that average.
Well, and I severely overestimated how much I thought I was going to get back, and I think I was doing the math wrong apparently, because I was thinking 50.
Go figure.
Apparently. I do have a question on the math though. So, do we have a total of how many people actually submitted the refund request?
Yes, it's approximately 11,000 people have submitted a refund, and so that equals about $260,000 going back to the taxpayers.
By the way, Stephanie's got some math on the revenue we're bringing in here. And again, this is not on you, Wayne. I hope you understand that. It's not on you. We're just throwing numbers out there.
So when the legislature wrote their fiscal note for the bill, they estimated how much money it would bring in, and they estimated a low refund percentage and a high refund percentage. And their estimate was 15% of people to 100% of people would apply for the refund. Now, I don't know what 11,000 into 6 million people is, but I know I think 15% was we would need 900,000 refunds, and you're saying we got 11,000?
Yes, and I think maybe we'll get more in the future because we started out with the refunds being very low, like $12, and most people thought it wasn't worth their time or effort to put in a refund for $12. Now it's got a little higher than that. It's, like I said, a little over $22. But I think each year as it goes up, just this past July, it went up another 2.5 cents. So conceivably, if just the same number of people submitted a claim, you'd think, well, if it went up another 2.5 cents, that'd be $44. And of course, we're going to be doing this until July 1st of 2025, so I think it'll go up each year, so maybe more people will be interested in filing it. But most of the people I talked to now said, well, it really wasn't worth their time for that amount of money just yet.
Sure, but I'm looking at the state's fiscal note again, and they're saying they were estimating that we would give back $11 million in refunds this year, and you're saying we're only giving back $250,000, so that's like an extra
260.
Okay, yes. 260, but that's a $10 million and some change extra this year that we're going to get from the gas tax that they were not counting on.
So is what that means, Mr. Wallingford, is like when we have Lincoln Huff on and these next people that are in Jefferson City again today building our budget and tax cuts, we can say, well, look at all the, and I know it's supposed to go just for MoDOT and roads, but we could say, look at all this extra money because we're not getting that money because a lot of folks aren't trying to get the money back on the gas tax.
Right. Well, even with the tax, of course, that was the first tax increase in 25 years, and so we're still, I think, about the 7th cheapest tax in the nation, which is good news. But the bad news is we're, I think, 8th worst in roads and bridges and tunnels. So there's a consequence to that, unfortunately.
Wayne Wallingford, he is the director for the Missouri Department of Revenue. They have been tasked with getting you your refunds on the gas tax if you've been saving your receipts since last October when this went into effect. Up until June the 30th. Those do have to be postmarked. If you're mailing them, it's got to be done by tomorrow, as I understand it. Wayne Wallingford.
That's correct.
Yep. Joining us this morning here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri.
I know people don't know what to call me anymore. I just say, call me Wayne. Right. Well, it's always a challenge for us because we get a lot of mail starts coming in when that happens. And so we do something called a secondment where we take people from other areas and go help with the tax people when those start coming in. And that's worked out very well. In fact, we got a governor's quality award for doing that. So we are challenged with, getting enough people to work. It's always kind of a whack-a-mole thing where you get 2 in and 1 leaves, but we have good people, hardworking people, so we make it happen.
We've got John texting in. He says, can businesses get the refund?
Well, yeah, anyone that pays the gas tax can get the refund.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to be just an individual. Your business would qualify because you have delivery vans and other vehicles. So yes, anyone that pays the gas tax can get a refund.
And then the other thing, and thanks for hearing us out, Wayne. We do seriously appreciate that. The other thing that I encountered, now there's a phone number when you're getting ready to submit or mail in your actual form, but through the process, like on the questions, and there's no phone number. It's like if there's a phone number along the way, that would have been helpful too. Anything else that you would like to add to be of service to citizens of Mid-Missouri this morning?
Well, yeah, I think if people want to fill it out, like you mentioned, tomorrow's the deadline, and they can either fill it out manually and mail it in or go to the website. I know you said you had some issues with it. We'll be looking into those issues. But the Form 4923-H would be the way to fill that out. Just to let people know, I've done a lot of studies on roads and bridges, and they say the average motorist pays $699 due to poor roads. So that gas tax was meant to improve the road. So I know I've talked to a lot of people, said, my car's out of alignment, I blew a tire, etc.
So let me ask you this, kind of more of a personal question, Wayne. Did you submit for a refund on your extra gas tax?
I did not.
How come it just wasn't worth it to you?
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
Or did you get stuck on the website? Did you get lost because it's so difficult?
No, I didn't even try it. I guess I should go in though and try it, because that's the best way to figure out what's wrong with that.
Well, and again, I'm not the best at that stuff, but it sounds like John and I had the exact same problems. Wayne Wallingford.
We'll look into that.
Okay, Director of the Missouri Department of Revenue, man. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. And as always, if there's something that we can do to help you or to help the folks here in mid-Missouri, you let us know, okay?
I appreciate that, Branden. Thank you very much.
All right. We appreciate you, Wayne.
He says Thursdays are normally called something called Thirsty Thursday. He says, though, it was...
Brian Houseworth, we're celebrating his birthday. He doesn't know we're celebrating his birthday because he's off doing other news. Was bummed to hear about the death of Coolio. Apparently yesterday afternoon he was at a friend's house in L.A. and just collapsed in a bathroom. No word on what the cause of death was, but it was in the...
Yay, Branden.
Apparently, the Postal Service even had a special box kit to express mail ashes.
Wait, they mail those?
Why?
Did I not know this?
I didn't know that either.
I didn't.
I can't imagine just picking up Grandpa out of the mailbox. Like,
look what I got you for Christmas. It's in the mail. It's Grandpa's ashes.
I don't know. I mean, I think if people's family is far away and if people are old, I mean, there'd be a circumstance where you would want to mail someone's ashes.
It's just with the, I've had a lot of mail get lost, bills and stuff. So, I mean, if, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that would not be good.
Brian Houseworth, we are celebrating his birthday today with some of the greatest moments in recent memory here on the show. Too bad he's not here to celebrate it with us. He's been super busy this morning. Love Brian Houseworth. Welcome to the show. Wake Up Mid-Missouri. Marsh, how are you today? Happy birthday, bud. Steph, how about you? How are you?
I'm great.
Producer Hannah is here. My name is Branden Rathert. You can be here, too. 874-9390. One of the other ways you can be here. Watch the show on our YouTube channel. You go to YouTube and just search Wake Up Mid-Missouri, and you get some behind-the-scenes stuff. See what we do kind of like during the commercial breaks and things like that. It's pretty cool. Scared to take this next phone call. The other thing you'd see on the cameras right now, Hannah and I eyeballing each other because she's laughing, smiling, got a look, and I'm real hesitant to chat with Clay here. Clay, welcome into the show. What can we do for you, man?
Well, I'm your friendly neighborhood funeral director, and I just flipped on the radio and heard you guys talking about shipping cremated remains.
Yeah.
And, I operate one of the crematories here in Columbia, and I've sent cremated remains all over the world, China, New Zealand, Australia, Mexico,
and
Kansas City. It's a pretty smooth process.
How does that go through customs?
Well, most everything. You can also fly on an airplane with cremated remains if you have them in your possession.
In your carry-on?
We just send a couple. Oh yeah, we just send a couple documents with families, and as long as they have those documents, customs aren't too concerned about trying to open an urn.
So the remains of a human being have to have documentation.
Oh yeah, absolutely, big time.
Like, what does it say on that paperwork?
Well, there's two ways. So if we ship a body that's been embalmed, so it's a full-size, traditional-size body, those go with out of country. They go with copies of your passport or your legal documentation that allows you to be in the U.S. and travel through countries. So,
So even if you're dead, you got to have the passport on you?
That's right. You got to have it. Yeah.
What if you don't have a passport, or what if your passport's expired? You can't go get a new one if you're dead.
No, but we can work through the state attorney's office and get apostilled paperwork and documents that can get folks out of the country.
Got a weekend at Bernie's it. You got to go and take the body and go to the DMV or go and get the photos. Let me ask you, and thank you for calling in, Clay. I'm wondering, because when I want to be, I don't want to take up space in the ground. Just do whatever you will with me. But like I'm 5'6", down to
on a good day,
and down to 190 pounds. If Stephanie and Hannah, they drag me down to your funeral home and you cremate me as a 5'6" dude, 190 pounds, how big of a pile of ashes am I going to leave?
Well, let's see. It sounds like you'd be somewhere in the 4 to 5 pounds at the most. So of cremated remains. Generally, what I like to tell folks is if you take your hands together, it's like two heaping handfuls is a pretty traditional, pile of cremated remains, for lack of a better word.
And then, so when people get ashes, now all of a sudden, we're going to talk about what I saw on the TV yesterday. We can do that later. We've only got about 30 seconds here. Do people, so when you cremate somebody and the family comes up to pick up the ashes, do they take the whole thing, or do you just give them like a cup or half a cup? Do you give them all the ashes?
They get everything back. We do our absolute best to recover 100% of the cremated remains. We sort out any metal that you may have, knees, hips, back surgery, stuff like that.
Dude, can you go and can you resell that metal and the gold like in people's teeth and stuff?
Well, the short answer is yes, but there are companies that buy that metal back, recycle it, and return it back for medical use.
Yikes.
They melt it all down, of course. and create all new clean metal with it.
Clay, the funeral director. We got to
reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Hey, thanks for checking in here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri this morning, man. We appreciate you being a part of Wake Up Columbia. So we had the treasurer, Scott Fitzpatrick, telling us, don't take nudies of yourself and keep them in your boxes at the bank.
I'm fascinated to know, has he ever found ashes in a safe deposit box?
Man, glad you're listening to Wake Up Mid-Missouri. Good morning.
The following is an address by the President of the United States.
Let me be clear. If you're in a state where hurricanes often strike, like Florida or the Gulf Coast or into Texas, a vital part of preparing for hurricane season is to get vaccinated now. Everything is more complicated if you're not vaccinated and a hurricane or a natural disaster hits.
Oh, that's the president, man. Hey, when you're fleeing a life-threatening storm, 30 inches of rain, wind speeds at 150-plus miles an hour, before you board up the place, before you make sure you have food and fresh water to survive for a few days, before you have gas to get out of town and get on the highway and try to get away from the hurricane, stop, get a vaccine. That's the president yesterday. Busy day for him. Randy Tobler is joining us here on the show, and I want to ask you. He hosts the Randy Tobler Show weekdays. Okay, he's not here.
I did download someone on Twitter. I thought this was really neat. She posted hurricane prep plan info sheet, and she shared it, and like all the information you should have and the supplies you should have. Vaccines wasn't on there.
Well, we used to, when I was in Florida, we used to do the hurricane preparedness kit. It was a can of pork and beans and duct tape, and that's all it was. And people would go crazy. We'd give them away on the show, and that's what people.
But like writing down all the information for your car, because I've seen like people's cars are floating away, their boats are on the loose. So like making sure you have like all of your information written down somewhere in case disaster strikes. I think it's really helpful.
So I don't know which was get a shot. Man, see how bad they want. Get that shot. We want to control you. And then I don't think he was done yesterday. Jackie Walorski. She was a congresswoman from Indiana, and a high-profile story over this past summer. She died in a car crash. So this is August 3rd, 2022.
Stunning and tragic breaking news out of Elkhart County today involving the death of U.S. Congresswoman Jackie Walorski and two of her staffers who were killed in a crash earlier this afternoon in Elkhart County.
August 3rd, 2022. Now we go forward to September the 28th. Of 2022.
Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here to help make this a reality.
Wow. Randy Tobler hosts the Randy Tobler Show. Which was worse? Get the COVID shot before you flee this deadly hurricane, or, hey, where's that dead woman? Where's the dead woman? Which is worse?
Yeah. I don't know. Brandon, he keeps just giving us so much to talk about. We don't have enough time, do we? It's just and then Karine goes and walks it back and said, well, it was just on the top of his head. It was the top of his head. Well, apparently it was on the part of the top of his brain that wasn't connected to his mouth. So I don't know.
This is how Karine Jean-Pierre tried cleaning this up yesterday.
I just explained she was on top of mind. She was at top of mind. She was on his mind. She was of top of mind. Sometimes when you have someone top of mind, they're a top of mind. Exactly that.
Now, Joe Biden and I have a lot in common. I get forgetful about things. I get my words mixed up sometimes, and I ain't good at math. And either one of the girls here on the show will get my back on that. I have a brother. He died of a drug overdose. He was 16. I was 19. He's top of mind almost every day. But I've never once, hey, where's Evan? Where's my little brother? Where are you? Stand up, brother. And Biden, by the way, had a gaffe back in 2000. I think, was it in Columbia, Marsh, when he asked Chuck Graham to stand up? And he asked the guy in the wheelchair to stand up. Crazy. Randy Tobler is joining us this morning here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri with Stephanie Bell.
Good morning.
There's Mr. Brian Houseworth.
Good to see you, sir. Good
Producer
morning.
Hannah is here.
Good morning.
My name is Branden Rathert. By the way, apparently we're following details of an accident here, 63 and southbound 54. Exit is a parking lot right now. Take the shortcut. Traffic backed up onto 63 south and 54 west. We do appreciate those texts coming in here.
Yeah, John, have you heard anything on that? Yeah. Yeah, and Randy and I talked. It's almost every day we're seeing that. That's I appreciate almost every day. Thank you.
And that's what's going on right now. So, and here's
Brandon, let me expand on the whole Biden thing. And you were talking about how you get a little forgetful, so forth. You know, there's a huge difference between successful people like Branden Rathert and people who have been propped up but never really had any success doing anything that makes a real difference for other people, like Joe Biden. Joe Biden shows no humility. He doesn't surround himself with people that make up for his deficits. And Branden Rathert, on the other hand, you talk about your gaps. I talk about my gaps. Most normal people, they recognize where they have a little blind spot.
Yeah.
And then, you've got Stephanie and Hannah, and they sort of pick up the pieces. Thank God, I got Brian Hansen and Brian Houseworth who make up for my ADD where I can't stay on track. I promote one thing before the end of a break of a segment, and I forget what I talk. That's what bothers me about Biden. It is the utter unrecognition of his weaknesses and trying to, make up for it and mitigate it. And it's embarrassing for him. It's embarrassing for the country.
Well, and I think, and you talk about the ownership of your gaffes and mistakes, because as a matter of fact, it's company. It's one of our things that hangs on the wall here at Zimmer. Ownership, hey, this is your show or these are your actions. And here's what I see. People, they're all about ownership, except when they make a mistake. There's a lot of power because there's a lot of people that have a hard time saying, "Yeah, I messed up." Instead, they try to find excuses. Well, it was because of this or because of that person. No, take ownership of your mistake and then move forward. That's what that means. Ownership doesn't mean just do a good job. When you screw up, take ownership.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Righty Tobler, he's here weekdays 4 to 6 on 93.9 The Eagle and News Radio 104.5 KWOS. Which have you enjoyed more? TV coverage of the Queen of England or hurricane coverage?
I actually, I don't know that I've enjoyed either of them, but I really am just amazed at these guys that and, they seem to have a new crop all the time. They don't last too long, those hurricane reporters. That's a brutal job to stand out there in that wind. Some of them are like at a 30-degree angle leaning into it. There's things flying down the street at them. I mean, I think that's pretty courageous to be a reporter out in the middle of that stuff. I know you spent time down there. Were you ever involved in any of those tropical storms or worse?
Yeah, tropical storms, never in a hurricane. And basically, you get a good day of tourism at the beach during a tropical storm. The surf is high, it's swelling. People go down and they watch and they take pictures. And here was the thing. So living in Pensacola, Florida, whenever we had a tropical storm coming, you'd see the Weather Channel people come in. And if you saw Jim Cantori come in, it was like, oh, crap. And if they started, this is a true story, if they started closing the Waffle Houses, that's when you knew stuff was bad. Seriously, Waffle House is a gauge of how bad the hurricanes would be. It's a true story. Well, here's the thing.
I'll be darned.
I'm blown away by this. I'm having lunch with a friend of mine yesterday, and they've got it on the TVs. Every TV station was showing. And listen, you can watch 10 seconds of a video clip, no different than the other 10 seconds of a video clip. But I'm seeing yesterday, did anybody else see this? Some of these reporters out there, they've at least done away with the umbrella prop. Because they'd go out with an umbrella and, oh, look, it's tearing his umbrella up. And you could go by the Weather Channel van and they got a whole plastic trash can full of umbrellas because they give it to their reporters. Hey, go stand out. We'll film you and it's going to tear you. And it makes for great TV. We had a restaurant yesterday. Everybody's glued watching hurricane coverage yesterday.
I'm sitting there watching that, though, and I'm telling my wife, it's like, well, wait till the next bill comes in for the home insurance next year. Mm-hmm. Holy cow, we're all going to pay for this.
Yeah, it's, there's the refund.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Randy Tobler is here. He hosts the show each weekday afternoon, 4 to 6 here on the radio station. What else did I want to ask you about? Oh, so back to this Joe Biden thing. It's not always, sure, it's easy to poke fun. But I'm like, who here in mid-Missouri is thinking, yes, I'm going to vote for this guy again? It's like Joe's old, and it's sad that he's surrounded by a bunch of people that continue to treat him the way they do. Like nobody's tapped him on the shoulder and said, Joe, listen, you shouldn't be out there speaking at the podium and stuff. Your brain is gone. You say incredibly embarrassing things. You hurt people with the words you say. You embarrass yourself. Then you go to other countries and you embarrass the entire country. You got to quit going up to the podium. As a matter of fact, if I were you, I would think about resigning and then never mind, Joe, if you can just hang out here for 2 more years. But like, seriously, I wonder about the people that think he's doing a good job. I wonder about the people that think I'm going to vote for him because he has been an effective president for this country. I wonder about the people that vote for him.
I do too, and it troubles me that we've come to a point where I don't think folks are really attentive and thinking, like you just mentioned, all of the ripple effects out of his behavior. out of his cognitive deficits. And what's worse, who's really running the show? You think you may be voting for Joe Biden, and you're thinking about good old Joe from the good old days that never existed. But, that's what worries me. Is it some Politburo up there that's actually running the show, and he's their puppet? Yeah. It does concern me.
And that's that. I guess we're done. Randy, check out his show this afternoon. It's really been cool. So yesterday, there's like 3 different traffic issues. And I'm cruising around because I'm going to Fulton to hang out with my nephew, take him out to dinner. And like I had to reroute my thing because of a traffic issue yesterday in the Jeff City area. But I heard all that by listening to the Randy Tobler show. The other thing that's really cool about his show is he'll get these lawmakers after they're in session. They call in. Like, he doesn't even set up interviews. They call in. They want to talk to Randy Tobler. And you get the whole rundown of things that have been happening here in mid-Missouri on his show weekdays 4 to 6. Brian's still not back. Marsh, you see Brian around the corner there? So we're trying to celebrate. It's hard to celebrate somebody's birthday when they don't show up.
Yes, thank you, John, for not making it sound like Houseworth is just hiding from us. He's actually working, dude.
That was a gaffe. Here he's trying to get information on traffic so he can keep the folks in mid-Missouri informed about areas to avoid. And I'm just crapping all over him. That's a Joe Biden thing I just did. So we're trying to celebrate. Here's how you protect yourself from a tornado in Missouri. Get vaccinated. So we're celebrating Brian Houseworth today on his birthday. I got to see Drew in that costume. I thought it was pretty cool because, I was like, even if you don't know who Macho Man Randy Savage, I think it was back in the 80s.
It would have been about 85. I actually have his action figure at home. I'll try.
The day we learned that Brian has wrestling action figures at his house. Happy birthday, Brian Houseworth, 51. More morning. 8:25, time for the Morning Bell Business News. Little twist only Stephanie Bell can give you. Can I mention this really first? How long is your thing going to be?
You can.
Morning Bell.
You have time.
Well, no, you go first. Yours is more.
What is that?
So a couple weeks ago, in case anybody got mad, we were announcing basically on the air that Queen Elizabeth had died. It happened during our show, and I didn't mean to, but kind of came across as like, well, yeah, that's what old people do. They die. This from the BBC, Queen's cause of death, and I'm showing. I'll show the camera here so you can see it. See, I'm not making this up. Stephanie, can you read the headline for me, please?
Queen's cause of death given as old age on the death certificate.
Thank you. All right, Morning Bell Business News. That little twist. That's what happens when you get old. BBC, thanks for the vindication. Time for the Morning Bell Business News with a little twist only Stephanie Bell can give you.
So we clarified earlier today that the Capitol is lit up orange not to just look like a pumpkin, but because of world hunger or something, right? Hunger. Yeah. But if you do want to go out and get your pumpkins this year, apparently the prices are pretty high.
Thanks, Joe.
20% increase on pumpkins is what they're saying.
How are pumpkins so expensive?
Well, they said because we had a bad crop year, so it was very hot, a lot of drought, and so not only are pumpkins more expensive, they're smaller, and there's just fewer of them because it was just a bad year all around for pumpkins. So if you want to go get your pumpkins, you're going to have an opportunity at Hartsburg. Pumpkin Festival is coming up. You're going to get to do that, but even there, they said they're going to actually charge $5 for parking. Which previously was free, and they said, look, we're trying to hold costs down, but obviously we're affected by inflation and putting on the festival, and so we've got to be able to, get our money somewhere, and I don't think they make a huge amount of money, but they said we don't have very many options out here at the Pumpkin Festival. We're providing this big community event, and we got to keep the wheels turning on this. So if you're going to the Pumpkin Festival, you can carpool, get in a big car, and you can pay $5 for parking.
Thanks, Joe.
But I've always found pumpkins at the Pumpkin Festival pretty reasonable, too.
Oh, yeah, and it's a good time. Pumpkin Festival is always cool. But all these things, bad crop year, happened since Joe Biden was president. Expensive pumpkins. Joe Biden. It's all happened since Joe Biden's been president.
The pumpkin spice latte, apparently at Starbucks, has also increased in price from last year. So, bad news all around.
And so they sell at the Pumpkin Festival coming up a couple weeks from now, I think.
I think it's on Saturday.
Oh, this Saturday, a couple of days from now. Man, there's my Joe Jr. Like all things pumpkin, you can get at this festival, and there's people. If you've never been, it truly is a good time.
I think it's Saturday, October 8th, so that would be 2 Saturdays from now.
Saturday,
right?
October the 8th. By the way, we are keeping tabs on a traffic issue. Apparently, exit 63 South 54 exit. Brian Houseworth working on that for you. We'll get an update coming up here in just a few minutes on Wake Up Mid-Missouri on 93.9 The Eagle and News Radio 104.5 KWOS. Mizzou hosting #1 team in the country this Saturday. Like apparently all these local folks here in mid-Missouri, like the local business experts saying like 30,000 people come to town. I knew there was a few. I guess Georgia travels better than Texas Christian Abilene, but they're expecting like 30,000 people in town. Hotels are booked up. So folks filtering into Jefferson City and other surrounding, well, really outside of Columbia, you either go to Fulton or Jeff City because there's no hotels that I know of in Sturgeon or Centralia or Ashland.
I mean, I've got a spare room. I kind of want to like Airbnb something, make some money.
What was that Airbnb that Hannah found about a year ago?
Sheesh.
In Jeff City?
Not that kind of Airbnb.
Even that's been rented out, we've heard. The one that's got the stuff for adults. Coming up just a few minutes from now here on the show, more of that TV hurricane coverage and why some of the Democrats in Jefferson City, why they're all triggered and stuff. Stephanie was talking about that orange light on the Capitol. They're triggered. We're going to find out why coming up 5 minutes from now.
Good times. Easy credit rip-offs.
Yes.
Good times.
Dynamite.
Ain't we lucky we got 'em. Good times.
Tomorrow on a Feel Good Friday, Brian has agreed every Friday he is going to sing a theme song from a 70s television show.
Did I agree?
No. We are celebrating Brian Houseworth's birthday by putting him to work. You've been watching a traffic situation for us.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you, by the way, you and Stephanie, the very kind words, and Hannah, too, and the birthday wishes and everything. I really appreciate that. I've got you on in the monitor, and I get in here as quickly as I can. Yeah, here's the situation on the bridge. And I wonder if it ties into, because I asked this question yesterday when Randy brought me in on a crash at a very similar situation. We've had about 3 days here in the last, let's say, 4 or 5, right in that exact location, either morning or afternoon crashes. So I don't know if it's connected to, if there's an issue there. I'm not sure. But Scott, who works at the Capitol, he is one of the aides, works for one of the state lawmakers. He is saying westbound 54 on the bridge is essentially shut down right now. Multiple cars have wrecked. I did call the Jefferson City PD and talk to dispatch, and they put me through to Mr. Heisland, Derek Heisland. I believe he is out on scene. So until I can get some more information, we're really relying on the callers out there. But I do appreciate the call. So if someone's out there and has better information, let us know. But at least one, and perhaps I wonder if there could be maybe more than one accident in that area.
And if you can, we like and we always love text, 874-9390. We like when the texts come in on our giant text. This thing's like 6 foot tall here in the studio. It's 3 feet wide.
Branden has to get a step stool.
But we like it the old-fashioned way, too. We like it when you call in, especially in a situation like this. So if you're in that area where you're seeing the traffic is jacked up, maybe you can call and say, hey, here is what I'm seeing. So if you could help us out here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri, that would be really cool. Brian Houseworth, there's Stephanie Bell.
Good morning.
Producer Hannah is here.
What up?
My name is Branden Rathert. Stephanie Bell reminds me of Sarah Walsh today, outgoing state rep who served this area incredibly well, getting ready to do some of her final professional things in Jeff City over the next few days. But she's always sporting either the red cowboy boots or the red jacket. Stephanie Bell sporting red today.
Red cowboy boots are on my list.
Yeah, and she's, the thing that sticks out, whatever people think, and I know a lot of our listeners like her politics. She's been reelected in that district multiple times over and over. But I will tell you this, what she is best known for is her constituent services. Yes. If you have an issue in that district, if you have a problem with an agency, it doesn't matter who you are, she personally gets involved and gets it taken care of. I mean, that I'm telling you, and that is what the bulk of the calls to lawmakers are not about abortion. They're not about guns. People think they are. It's about they need some help. They need some help with an agency.
I am a little salty, Branden, that when Stephanie wears red on a day that's not Friday, you compliment her. And when I wear red on a day that's not Friday, you ask me why I'm wearing red.
Come on, is that for real?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Sarah,
you're kidding. It's like Branden thinks that I'm only allowed to wear red on Fridays or something. But apparently when Stephanie does it, it's great.
Sarah Walsh helped me. Missouri Department of Revenue several years ago. They wanted me to pay the taxes, income taxes that I owed them from 2012 and 2013. Yeah. So I called Missouri Department of Revenue and said, well, I don't owe you jack.
Yeah.
Because I haven't worked in Missouri since like 1991 or something. Mm-hmm. The Missouri Department of Revenue, unbelievable. You talk about these government entities, man, whether it's a national level or a state level, and I don't fault the actual employees in there. It's the people that make the policies by which they have to operate. They wanted me to then prove that I didn't work in Missouri and that I didn't like I'd lived in Idaho and Florida for over 25 years, man. What the heck are you talking about? Wow. You could not call the Department of Revenue. You could not talk to anybody. You could not go. And when I finally got to somebody, I'm like, let me come down and sit in front and show you this the stuff. Finally, I had to get Sarah Walsh involved. She's my state rep. I said, Sarah, I need some help. I cannot get through to these people. And the idea that I have to prove to, it's just like they said, let's go after this Rathert kid and tell him he owes us money from several years ago. How on earth could that ever even happen?
Yeah.
But Sarah helped with that. She's always been very good with constituent services.
Absolutely, and I'm sorry you had to go through that, Branden. Unfortunately, and I hope people listen carefully to what you said, because what you just said highlights what it should not be. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. If you need help with an agency, a state agency, especially something like that, you have to go to your lawmaker. It takes a state lawmaker to get involved. And I'm not talking about a political issue. That's nothing political. You
or a good lawyer.
Well, but yeah, but most people can't afford that. The bulk, some can, but your point's well taken. But a lot of times you have to call to get a lawmaker involved, and or to at least ask questions. Could be that you are eligible for Medicaid benefits. It could be child support. But yeah, point well taken.
Marsh, you ever had to call your local state rep and say, hey, I need some help here? Really?
Yes.
She does incredible, incredible work. There's Mr. John Marsh. This is Wake Up Mid-Missouri. I'm Branden Rathert. We introduced everybody. All right, we're good.
Getting requests on the text line for Brian. Chuck says he wants to hear Brian sing the Jeffersons.
I don't know.
Yeah. Brian.
I don't know the words. I'll pass on that one. But you could. I don't remember that one as well. There were certain ones that I did know. That one I didn't watch too much. I did what. The Good Times one I watched. No, Different Strokes was popular. That was when I was really little. But the Good Times, the Jeffersons was genuinely a comedy. It really was. The reason I like Good Times is, and no offense to the Jeffersons, it was a good show, but the Good Times was more of a. I thought it was more of a drama that was a comedy, because they
always had some serious stuff going down.
They
on that
did,
show.
and it was about morals and trying to get a good education.
Right. How about this? How about
Greatest American Hero? I certainly enjoyed.
Greatest American Hero. I'm pulling it up.
John is letting us know that the bridge traffic is moving again. He said he sat on the westbound ramp for 30 minutes, but he said it's just started moving for those who needed a quick update.
That's good. That's a good piece of information there.
And I need Marsh on board for this, but I think tomorrow, since it's a Feel Good Friday here on Wake Up Mid-Missouri, All in the Family, Archie Bunker, sing that theme song. You and Marsh.
But I remember that. That was a very popular show up until the very end. And then it became Archie Bunker's place for a couple of years. I think Edith left the show or died off. In the script, I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was
the way he talked to his wife on that show.
It was kind of controversial. Yeah, it really was. But it had good ratings. There's no doubt. Carol O'Connor was the gentleman's name.
So we are celebrating Brian Houseworth. So those are the big things going on. We got traffic, and I want to do one more thing before we take another moment to step aside and celebrate Brian Houseworth's birthday. Kamala. So Joe Biden, he was on a roll, telling everybody in Florida, hey, as you flee this life-threatening storm, 30-inch rain, 150-mile-an-hour winds, before you board up the place, put gas in your car and get food and fresh water to make sure you can live for a few days. Before you do all that,
make sure you get vaxxed.
He said that. They get vaccinated. And then called for a dead congresswoman to join him for a speech. And Kamala, I'm like, are they competing to see who can have the worst day? Who can outdo each other? Kamala Harris yesterday, DMZ, between South Korea and North Korea.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea.
An alliance with the Republic of North Korea? That could be just a gaffe, but chilling up. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. All right, Brian House. And how old are you today, Brian?
Your age.
55?
No. 51. 51. I remember it seemed like it was yesterday I turned 21. And I remember, John, if you remember, I was part of the 40 under 40 in Jeff City, but the years they go fast. Willie McGee, I just think of Willie McGee for number
51
yes.
on the back of his shirt. So you were 40 under 40 or 30 under 30?
I think it was 40 under. It was in 2002. Crosby Kemper came to Jeff City. It was 40 under 40. I'm positive it was 40 under 40 in Jeff City. Yeah,
Didn't you get like a 30 under 30 or something?
Like ones to watch, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm starting to age out of those awards, and now
I can't wait for that big 60 under 60 celebration.
No, so
awesome.
the Missouri Lawyers Weekly recently started doing the Icon Awards, which mainly is like the opposite of 40 under 40.
Sure.
So maybe like Brandon likes the word legendary. We should come up with mid-mo legends, which is just people above 60 or 65 maybe.
Brian, my man, greatest American hero was my fave. Dave off the text, 874-9390. He says, yeah.
Well, Mike Post is the gentleman who produced the song or wrote it, and he also produced Hill Street Blues, huge name. The show was very popular. If you look at reviews, it's more popular now than it was. But what hurt the show is, as I recall, the character's name was Hinckley. And I'm going from memory on that, and that was right after. Well, I think it was right before, after, what's his face, John Hinckley. I can't remember the man that was charged with shooting President Reagan. I think, it just that name hurt the show. There's no doubt. That's certainly been reported.
Also off the text, Dave says he got his gas taxes back yesterday. Got a check for $20.
Wow.
All right, bro. We're celebrating Brian Houseworth's birthday.
Girl, to be with you is my favorite thing. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't think that's
and
you.
I can't wait till I see you again.
Anybody?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's the wrong Brian H.
On my boogie shoes.
Who is this Brian Hansen?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, certainly not me.
He's here in the studio giggling.
Just a boogie with you. Yeah. I want to put on my boogie shoes, just a boogie with you.
Okay.
Sorry. Brian Hansen, the star of the Gary Nolan Show, is getting on her way about 15 minutes from now. Sorry, wrong.
Oh, good.
I love it. Brian,
awesome.
And that's the name of the group, Brian and Brian.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
You're welcome. Happy birthday.
Absolutely.
We love you,
God bless and Godspeed.
Coming up about 5 minutes from now, leftovers, and then we're going to get into the Gary Nolan Show here.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played songs that made the
the news director of the entire Zimmer Radio Network, giggle,
Yes.
then I that's one of our goals. If
Amen.
we can make our almost Les Nessman. You know who Les Nessman is?
Nope.
Big name.
You know who Les Nessman is?
Johnny Fever's sidekick.
Yeah, you know who Johnny Fever is?
Nope.
No.
WKRP in Cincinnati, TV show from the late 70s and early 80s. If you were to look up pictures right now of Les Nessman, WKR.
He's awesome.
You gave Brian the giggles.
I love that guy.
This guy's a meme.
He had
I
a
know
lot
this
of
guy.
he had a lot of awards. I remember that.
Just like, I hope you are watching on YouTube. Brian Houseworth celebrating a birthday today. He loves Les Nessman.
Did you forget his name for a second?
I did. It's because I got the piece. The piece is called Brian Nessman. And sometimes I'm like Joe, and I just read whatever people sneak in on the teleprompter here, and it says Brian Nessman, Brian Houseworth. 51 years old today, so we wish him a happy birthday.
Here's a big old serving of leftovers. Enjoy.
All right, leftovers, we're going to open up the fridge and see what we can find in the back of it. Things we did not get to on the show today. What about, Marsh, you got anything in your refrigerator over in that corner? Or an orange light at the top of the dome, which is not for Halloween, I was informed of this morning. So you go by the Capitol and it's lit up orange at night. Man, and you come, what one of the greatest sights in all of mid-Missouri. You talk about Rockbridge State Park and the Rock Bridge through there. That's a beautiful sight. That
The columns.
The columns coming down Missouri Boulevard and seeing the Capitol lit up in orange for Halloween. That's a beautiful thing. Except
It's for hunger.
it's not for Halloween.
Well, pretty soon you're going to be able to visit the Capitol in D.C. and see something Missouri related. Today, the statue of Harry Truman is to be added to the Statuary Hall in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. Apparently, they're going to live stream it at 2 p.m. Central on the Speaker's website.
And Harry S. Truman, of course, from Missouri. I think he was, at least in the 20th century, I think one of, or maybe the only president that did not have a college degree. He kind of did that Rathert thing, kind of went to several colleges, but just never finished because, commitment. Why would you commit to finishing college? But one of the few, I think, in the modern era, the only president without a college degree. World War I, yeah, and served served as vice president and was elected president here. Anything else left over that we did not get to? We've covered the tax cuts that are coming. This is going to change your paycheck.
Hopefully.
There is that.
Hopefully.
Should I issue an apology for what's hot with Hannah?
Oh, that or the shipping dead people. Or not dead people, ashes, which is the thing. The Postal Service does this. Why on earth anybody would get upset about this just baffles me. Yeah, go ahead and apologize for what's hot. What's hot with Hannah is something we do every morning, 7:25. It's something fun, like you might chat with your coworkers about, or a happy hour or something.
Well, I was talking about how McDonald's is bringing back, or they're introducing Happy Meals for adults, and they even come with toys. And Stephanie had her head in the gutter, and when I said adult toys for these adult Happy Meals, she thought that I was being gross.
And Marsh giggled, too. I'm the only responsible one in this studio today.
Are we in the Matrix?
I mean, does McDonald's want to make money? They could make some money.
So I apologize for insinuating that you were getting adult toys with your food from McDonald's.
And the box, when you get the box, it's like...
No.
Marsh, you have a good day, bud. Well, thank you, Sean. Hannah, have a great day.
Don't tell me what to do.
Steph, we'll see you. Gary Nolan Show's next. See ya.
Bye.